Hi there, Springies. It is me, Springboy1227, and tonight or today is still kind of day. But yes, I am going to be reading some Wendigo horror stories, and yeah, I'm gonna be reading some Wendigo horror stories for y'all. And if y'all enjoy this, maybe I'll do more of these, but with different monsters and stuff. Of course, as you know, we've done series and stuff on the Windigo, and tonight we are going to be reading some Windigo horror stories. So let's get into it. When I was young, I often spent parts of summers with my grandmother in her home. Out in the country, it was my favorite place. The world and I will always looked forward to the week long, sorry, long stays of gardening, baking, late night fires with s'mores and ghost stories, and enjoying having my grandmother all to myself. There was a pond not far from her house where we would sometimes go to swim. It was home to quiet, a few frogs, and at night they made the most insistent noises. I complained to my grandmother only once, saying I would enjoy the night breeze with all that racket. She took me on her lap and told me a story about an sorry, an old man and woman who lived near a lake. The old man couldn't stand the singing of the frogs, but his wife told him that they kept the Windigo away, and to harm them would be unwise. Well, he didn't listen and set out about methodically, method, myth, mythically catching all the frogs on the lake. It was a process that took some time, but he did not stop until he had rid the lake of the pesky amphibians. That night, without the protection of the frogs, he and his wife were slaughtered by the Wendigo, a vicious, whip-like demon creature with elongated fingers ending in razor-sharp talons and rows of silver teeth as thin as as needed. I wrote it off as another of her ghost stories, thought she seemed more serious than usual, but it never complained about the frogs again, mostly because I grew to enjoy them and put the story out of my mind. In fact, I'd forgotten all about it until it came up this past spring. It's a Native American literature class I was taking in college. The mention of the Wendigo sparked that old memory of my grandmother's story. I thought she had made up the word. I didn't realize there were hopefully, stories about it originating in Algonquin legends, eager to contact or either to connect something from my childhood to the topic. I I googled it only to find that my grandmother had apparently been mistaken. There was nothing I could find about the story she had told me, nor any references of frogs providing protection from the Wendigo. And in fact, the Wendigo of legend seems very little like my grandmother's version. They were said to be ins- insatiable. I don't know. Craving human. Sorry about that, Springies. What flip was I? Blah, blah, blah. Where flip was I? Oh, here. Okay. Craving human flesh, and sometimes created from the forms of people who had resorted to cannibalism to survive. Descriptions varied, but they sounded almost nothing like my grandmother's boogeyman version. I actually choked as I read it, almost a bit embarrassed by how badly my grandmother had messed up the original tale. I changed residences this summer, moving to a new built 1,000 1,000 square foot on each side duplex on the edge of town. The other side is to be occupied by my landlady who'd had the place built. However, she isn't scheduled to move the rest of her stuff in the begin living there for a couple of weeks. She's waiting for her lease to end, even though my new place is only a few minutes from the edge of town. It feels much more isolated. I enjoy the seclusion of my new home and its proximity to a more natural setting. I'm surrounded by woods, and from my patio, I can even see a pond beyond the carefully landscaped lawn. Much is meticulous, I don't know, carved out from the surrounding woodlands. Well, we already know if you live around the woods and there's been Windigo sightings and stuff, that's usually not a good idea. Oh boy, it's not looking too good for this person. Just like the pond near my grandmother's house, the frogs have put up a furs. I don't know that word. Racket lately. I prefer not to pay to run my air conditioning if it can help it. So I have every window open to catch a breeze. That means that I can hear them as clearly as if I were standing on the water's edge. It took a few days to get used to the noise, but I'm fine now. Just like I was those summers when I was young. In fact, the noise has been comforting in my in me during the stress of the move. Tonight is different. Find myself standing in my living room, staring at where the pond is. Though I don't see it in the dark, the air is easily still and oppressively warm. But all my windows are shut and I feel impossibly cold. Oh, impossibly cold. I'd long since convinced myself that my grandmother's story had been a silly tale, a twisting of an old legend by irreverent storytellers. But for some reason, I have the most overwhelming sense or dread growing in the pit of my stomach. I don't know what to do. I'm trapped. Leaving my house means braving the darkness beyond my home, but I don't know if I'm going to be safe in here either. The frogs have stopped singing. Okay, well, that was story. Um, so what it looks like is her grandmother told her a story about the Wendigo. She didn't believe it, and then she literally moved somewhere, and I guess is being stalked by the Wendigo, which kind of makes sense because the Wendigo does kind of stalk people, I think, before it, like, attacks its victims. Um, I've never heard anything about the frogs, like, but I guess the frogs have some kind of, like, I don't know, ability to, like, keep the Wendigo away. I guess they, like, I guess something about the Wendigo, it doesn't like hearing frogs or something. I've never heard of that ever. Like, I've done a lot of my Wendigo research, and I've never heard anything about, like, frogs being able to, like, keep it away. I've never heard anything like that, but I guess that's good to know if we ever, hunt the Wendigo again. But, that was a good story. Whoever wrote this, that was a great story. Um, so yeah, if you, ever encounter the Wendigo, just run, because attacking it might not be a good idea, or bring some frogs with you everywhere you go. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this. If y'all like this and would love to see more, y'all know what to do. If y'all enjoyed this, maybe I'll do more with like skinwalkers or literally anything else entirely. And yeah, guess that being said, God bless y'all. Don't forget, keep it springy. Have a great rest of y'all's day and week. And see y'all in the next one, whatever that'll be. And yeah. See you guys soon. This is a really good story. I actually enjoyed reading this. And never go hunting for the Wendigo. And always keep frogs by your side if you encounter it. Peace.